Good afternoon, chat. I'm sweating. It is hot. I'm getting the immersive The Summer Hikaru Died experience. Apologies for the late video. I'm trying so hard to get back on schedule. I've got a lot going on between 2 jobs and normal life. I'm trying to prep for a con and trying to do weekly videos. Thank you for your patience. With all that out of the way, let us begin. I wonder if anyone's tried to identify what all these images in the opening scene are. How to get blood stain out of white shirt. First of all, cold water. Second of all, treat it as soon as you possibly can. You are. Yeah. But he could have called it Unuki-sama. Oh, I think this is the library research episode. Library research is so fun. If you've never researched in a physical library, you're missing out. It's one thing to use an online library and look at PDFs and all that, but there's just something so fascinating about physically going to the library, pulling out all these old books, old newspapers, whatever it is you're trying to get your hands on. And it really does feel like you're in a movie, like you're Gandalf in the Fellowship of the Ring, digging through the catacombs. Go research something for fun in your local library. Episode 8, Contact. Grandpa. I always forget that his grandpa is alive. He's mentioned his grandpa before, but every time I see grandpa, I'm like, whoa, he's still around. Unuki-san instead of Unuki-sama. That's interesting. Grandpa, say more, please. Be coherent. We want to know. What is the ritual? See, Grandpa would know what the ritual is. We don't know. And Kohei's dead, and Hikaru doesn't remember. Adam Parrish Core. That's basically an admission that it's true. Nobody's buying that. The unskippable anime ad down at the bottom. Oh, brother. Oh! I remember this. This was so scary in the manga. It's just a freak. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah, a normal, unaffected person does not do that. It is the whole town. Yeah, the impurities are coming down off the mountain. They'll explain this in a minute. But with Nonuki-sama in the village, the impurities are now drawn to him. And when he was on the mountain, he was keeping them up on the mountain, for the most part. With half of himself gone, he can feel pain now. Kibogayama. I wonder what that means. Yama is mountain. I don't know what the rest of it means. I should look that up.
ここが天板山。やからここがだるま捨て。なんやその名前。希望が山の昔の名前や。首立ちの自分今と違う。だるま捨て腕刈り。廃村になった腕入りとその下が足取り。
I'm gonna have to do some research and translate all these names if they don't translate it for us. But Dharmaste, Dharma, like the concept in Buddhism, the way, the path, the flow of all things, the natural way of things, kind of an untranslatable term. And then I think everything else is named after parts of the body. I just recently saw a picture of a town in Italy on a mountain that's sort of shaped like a body. I'll have to put it in here. Oh, yes, I just said that.
明治中期にだるま捨てと合併、寛永2年の飢饉と疫病により多くの死者が出た。
Wow, tell me more about the evils that befell this village.
ちょっと声大きいかも。学校の課題か何かですか？
あ、僕たち首立ちから山子を通ってて地元のことを調べてみたいな。
あらまあ、私も首立ち出身なんですよ。
Yes, this is Matsura's kid.
ずっと帰ってませんでしたけどね。
もしかして松浦さんの娘？
結局会わないまま死んでしまったんですけど。
ご冥福を。
By the way, I killed your mom.
松浦さん。
はい。
脳抜き様って知ってますか
？If my memory serves, which famously it does not, there's this face that Yoshiki will make anytime Hikaru says something slightly out of pocket. Like, Yoshiki doesn't know how to fix his face. So, Hikaru will say something like, just, do you know about Nonuki-sama? Out of the blue. And Yoshiki's like, yes, because this Matsura, the younger Matsura, had a sister who got disappeared on the mountain.
脳抜き様って山にいる化け物なのか？
いや、神様のようなものやと、特定の捧げ物と引き換えに益をもたらしてくれる存在。けどある時の飢饉でたくさん人が死んで、それを境にたたり神になってしまったんやと。やから絶対に山に入ってはならんよと。
Big wheel in the sky, keep on turning.
お母さんは山で脳抜き様見たんかな
？That's the wheel we see in the opening, and that's the wheel that shows up in like chapter 30 something when Hikaru. Spoiler! I mean, you all know that I freely spoiled the manga, but this is like much more recent. The wheel that appears in the sky when Hikaru goes to the other side to close the rift. There's this wheel and it turns and it will like put him in a different location. This wheel relates to Buddhism and the Dharma and the cycle of life, death, and rebirth that Asako's granny was talking about. In Buddhism, you'll often see a wheel. I think it's 8 spokes on the wheel. Is it 8 spokes for the Eightfold Path of the Buddha? Or is it 6 spokes for the 6 realms in the cycle? I'll get back to you on that. Okay, it's a 6-spoked wheel for the 6 realms. Although sometimes there is an 8-spoked wheel to represent the Eightfold Path. But the cycle of samsara, of life, death, and rebirth, is often represented by this big wheel. And the turning of the wheel represents transitioning through the different realms, or transitioning to a different phase in the cycle. I'm by no means an expert in Buddhism and other world religions. Most of my expertise is in Protestant Christianity. So my first thought when I saw the big wheel in the sky with the eye in the middle, I was like, oh, angel, Ophanim. In the book of Ezekiel, there's these angels that are represented as these like wheels with eyes. The whole like biblically accurate angel meme kind of comes from these. And then I was like, wait, wrong religion. This is the wheel of samsara. And the turning of the wheel represents shifting to a new part of the karmic cycle. What's interesting though is that the cycle of samsara is not a cycle of just living different lives. Being reborn in the cycle is like futility. Your goal in life is to escape samsara, to reach nirvana, the ultimate nothing, and pass on and escape the cycle, escape the wheel. I think this story kind of plays with that, where Hikaru, the entity, has been existing in this sort of mundane life, but then when he crosses the threshold into a new phase of the cycle and experiences the world of the living, he experiences joy and desire and fun and pain and all of these things that were previously blocked off to him. Which is interesting because in Buddhism, suffering is born of desire. Desire is considered the root of suffering. And I guess in some ways you could say that Hikaru the entity did not suffer until he became alive and then experienced life and then therefore suffering. But the same could be said for his positive experiences as well, right? Like he didn't know what friendship and love and ice cream and all of these things could be until he crossed the threshold into life. And so you really can't have one without the other. If you want to experience life and joy, you also experience suffering. If you want to experience what it is to be alive, you experience desire, and conflict can arise from desire. And I don't think that desire is the root of all evil. It can be the root of many evils, but this story is pushing back on the idea of existence being empty. And it's saying what Hayao Miyazaki tries to say in all of his films, that it is good to be alive. And that maybe suffering is caused by our desires, but would it be better to not experience that at all? To go back into the nothing? Is nirvana, is enlightenment really worth it? I don't know. I just say things. I hope I'm making sense. I feel so incoherent today. I don't know what it is. Back to the episode.
やからおかしくなってしまったん？そういうこと言うなや。
いや、ええですよ。母がああなったんはね、妹があの山で消えてしまったのが大きいと思います。
それは能
Watch
書
yourself.
様のせいでってこと？
母はそう信じとったけど、まさかね。当時は村中
So many people have died or disappeared on this mountain.
なんてよう分かってませんでしたから。
It's
あ、でもはじめちゃんたちは何か知っとったような。
it's actually so scary. There should have been some sort of investigation long ago.
はじめちゃんのお父さん、武田のおじいちゃんに聞いてみるのはどうやろ。
Omen
母
Takeda
と同世代やから。
does know things.
すいません、なんかお母さん亡くされたばっかりやのに。
ええですよ。私は母にとって薄情な娘でしたから。それでも大事な人やったなあって。
朝が嫌や。毎朝お父やんがおらんことに気づくんやもん。
Yoshiki and Hikaru were only 5th graders when Kohei died.
The connection here that the show is drawing for us is a connection between Hikaru's loss of his dad, right? His reaction after Kohei died. The younger Matsura's reaction to her mother's death, contrasted with the current Hikaru's inability to grieve or understand that kind of loss. But I think there's another parallel being drawn here that is not given to us so overtly. And I think that younger Miss Matsura's words here are cutting Yoshiki's heart. She's realizing too late that her family was valuable, even if she didn't get along with her mom. That was her mom, you know, and she died in a pretty horrible way, and there were regrets there. And so I think, given Yoshiki's attempt in the prior episode, he's probably got a lot to think about with regard to his own family when she said that.
たくさん死んだって俺がやった。
Time and place, man. Someone's gonna hear you.
松浦さんに何したか分かっとるん？わか。いや、分かっとらんな、俺は。
Yeah, I think it would take a while for him to figure out what that means.
松浦のばあさんにも家族がおんのに、どっかで軽く見てたんや。知って。
Okay, Matsura was not Yoshiki's fault at all. He didn't know.
何に対して謝っとんの？謝ったって仕方ないやろ。 大丈夫。これから先、お前がまた誰か殺してまったとしても、
Ooh.
俺も一緒に罪を背負う。
Come chapter 38, you're gonna eat those words for dinner. It's kind of giving I'll bear the burden of your hatred and die with you.
ここにおったらあかんってことも浮き彫りになるかもしれない。
That's what I'm saying. I know a lot of people are hopeful for a happy ending or something. I just don't think that's happening in this show. Because everything is telling us Hikaru cannot stay here. For his own safety, for other people's safety. I just don't think it can last. And even if there was a way it could, would that fit the tone of the story? Is that what the author is going for? I don't know. Get this chop hoe Tanaka off my screen. I know he smells so bad. You can practically see the stink lines radiating off of him.
お父さんに渡しといてください。もっと説明なりな。お守りみたいなもんです。
大切なプリントほど俺のカバンに紛れとんのは光と変わらんな。乱れん人や。せいでか。
This man sticks out like a sore thumb. He's probably like over 6 foot, blonde hair, dusty, crusty, pink hamster. In a small town? I'm surprised more people haven't been chatting about him.
ちょっと聞きたいことがあるんですけど。
何ですか?
Do not talk to strange men! Leave this kid alone!
ここの集落のこと調べに来てるんですよ。
I wonder why the author chose to give Yoshiki almost vertical pupils.
このネズミね。
This little rat.
飼い始めて12年になるかな。
ハムスターの寿命って2、3年じゃ。
こいつは特別。バケハムですから。
Bakehamu. That's goofy. There's like the soul of a human child in this hamster. It's given to us in like a little post-chapter omake or something. And it's like, thanks, that explains absolutely nothing. I actually have about 25 more questions about this. A hamster that can see ghosts, fine. A hamster that contains the soul of a human child? Tanaka, what's your problem? Where did you get that? What happened to the child? Did you have anything to do with what happened to the child? I'm scared.
君さ、僕と似てるよ。
Not a compliment.
後日にあれと接触している。
You've no idea.
あの腕の跡。普通に人の姿をして生活するなんてありえるのか。
Just when you thought you were free, your employer calls you on the phone.
異常性はまだ見当たらないっすね。
わかりました。引き続き調査をお願いいたします。
うるせえな。
I can respect a man who hates his job. I don't respect Tanaka for like anything else, but I do respect how much he hates his job. Shout out to a real one. Whoa! Hold on. That's the seat where Hikaru was sitting. It's sniffing him out.
あのさ、俺のかけらちゃんと持っとる？持っとる。肌身離さずな。
Ano-san will always remind me of Naruto.
それ壊れたら多分俺も無事やないから。は？そんな大事な。
Yeah, dude, it's half of him.
それは俺の覚悟やから。ま、多分壊れやんけどな。
That's the face. That's pretty close to the face that he makes in the manga. Watch out, girl. Mama, a hunting dog behind you. Yes.
よしき。動かんで。来い。あかん。
Uh-oh.
ダメや。
Hikaru always tends to leak out of the left side of his face. And that's the same side that the real Hikaru got wounded on. I think this floating head guy might also be a reference to a specific Japanese ghost. That's another thing I'll have to research. Thank you, Auntie.
もう大丈夫よ。
どうされました？
辻中君。
I was correct in remembering that there is a yokai with a long neck. Teiroku Rokubi. She appears as a beautiful woman and then like her neck stretches out. So maybe that's what I was thinking of. It's not exactly the same. This one is not a beautiful woman, but it could be the decomposing corpse of a once beautiful woman. I'm sorry, women, I did not stop to consider that Tanaka's hunting dog might be a woman. Diversity win. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a watermelon waiting for me downstairs. Bye.